All right, what's up, everyone? We're only a few days away from the national championship. The University of Georgia. You see it right here on the sweatshirt. I think you can see it. There we go. University of Georgia versus TCU. First thing, if you missed the last episode that we just came out with, we had Travis Denning, country music superstar. We had Todd Gurley, one of the best running backs in Georgia history. We had Matt Stinchcomb, one of the best offensive linemen in Georgia history. So what are we going to do this episode? We're going to bring in some more superstars, some big-time hitters as we break down this game, getting ready for back-to-back national championships. Luke Bryan, we even stepped it up, got a big-time country music singer once again for this show. Todd Gurley, Keith Marshall. Sorry, Todd. Keith, I get Gershel. It's Gershel. Gershel. Sorry, Keith. It's Gershel. Yeah. And Josh Brooks. You guys, listen, they're both my running backs at the same time. They came in together. They got the dreads together. I love you, Keith. I do love you. What's up, fellas? How's everyone feeling? I'll start from Luke on down. How's everyone getting ready for this game coming in a couple of days?
Yeah, I'm just glad you didn't call me Jason Aldean. Oh, we're all fired up. I mean, Saturday, watching the game, it was just I don't know if I've ever. A lot of those emotions on the when Georgia played Oklahoma in the Rose Bowl, a lot of those same emotions were happening. But man, I just felt like we weren't going to win the game most of the game, which was totally not anything I was expecting. I had some buddy, we had a big crew at the house, and a couple of my buddies said, Luke, I didn't utter a word for an hour and 10 minutes. I just sat in my chair and I didn't even say anything. I was just speechless. And, but I can't remember just a more amazingly, it was just an amazing game. I mean, I don't know, you look at those moments where, I was, in 1980, I was 4, and I don't remember the Lindsey Scott deal. I don't remember what my dad must have been feeling during the Lindsey Scott moment, but it's got to be the same sensation that I felt Saturday night. I mean, when we hit that Arian Smith bomb right off the bat and got those quick points, I was like, I still didn't say anything, but I was like, this thing might happen. And it was just and then you look at the little nuances of the game when you look at Brock Bowers extending out, and then you look at, Kirby Smart calling essentially the greatest timeout. Probably the greatest timeout in football history, in college football history. It was just a wild game.
No, I literally looked at my dad midway through that game and said the same thing. I'm like, I do not feel good about the outcome of this game. Like, I didn't feel good. I mean, CJ Stroud was having one of those days where I just didn't look like he'd get stopped. I know Josh Brooks, athletic director here, I'll go to you. I know it's been a whirlwind of 2 years since you took over that spot. How tight was that butt on Saturday night watching that game versus Ohio State?
Oh, I'm always nervous, and my brother always messes with me. I watch games with my brother, and he always texts me. He says, what percentage nervous are you throughout each game? And we'll always send updates, and he was there with me. But I was pretty nervous. But, Luke said it best. There were so many pivotal moments in that game. You think about, like you said, Brock's extension on the fourth down, Bullard's, breaking up that pass, the timeout. And you think back to the Lindsey play from the 80s. There's always going to be moments like that in a season where there's key plays that really define a game that turn it around. But I was nervous, but I told my brother, I said, if we can just score here and get it to one score, we'll flip the momentum, and I feel like we have a good shot. And it was just about catching the momentum at the right moment, and I felt good. And you got to be so proud of the resiliency of Coach Smart and the team. Just never quit and kept fighting the whole way.
All right. I'm just going to say Gershel so I don't get in trouble with you or for Todd or Keith in this situation. No. Keith, the one position to me, we talk about Bowers, we talk about all the skill in the offense, and Stetson obviously doing his thing, but like it feels like running backs at Georgia, obviously RBU, but like in big time games, they make big time moments. Luke brought up the Rose Bowl. We remember those two running backs and what they did. Obviously, we go back to what you and Todd did as the tandem back in 2012 to 15, I believe. But the running backs this year has been a little bit unique and different, and they've had some moments of not great success, but they look like they're kind of playing at their all-time high right now, especially Kenny out of the backfield. Break down your confidence as being a part of that fraternity as you watch those guys in a big-time game like that.
Well, absolutely. I think, first and foremost, you said it. I mean, the history at the position at Georgia, we're always going to have talent. Those guys are immensely talented. Kenny, I looked at some of his stats. I think he has like 800 yards rushing, over 500 yards receiving, 10-plus touchdowns, which is a phenomenal season for a dual threat running back. I had no idea he had that level of success. And it was good to get Kendall back in there and kind of see what he can do now that he's healthy. And interestingly enough, in terms of how they used him in the game in the first half, I felt like Ohio State really had no answer for our running game. And so, I was not shocked that they made some adjustments at halftime to kind of slow down the run. And we obviously had to adjust and figure out how to continue to move the ball. But, obviously I have an immense amount of confidence in, our offensive scheme and the running backs to do what they're asked to do. And I think they've done that throughout the season. To kind of piggyback on Luke and Mr. Brooks a little bit, I had spent the entire game and kind of feeling the same way that you were feeling, Luke. I did not. I didn't feel great, man. I was watching the game. They were really doing just about what they wanted to do on offense. I felt like the CJ kid, I was joking around calling him CJ Mahomes. The kid looked phenomenal. Everybody was blowing up my phone. As I'm sure you guys know, everybody's always waiting on Georgia to lose now because, we're kind of the elephant room. We were so dominant last year, and then to come back and do it this year, I think everybody pokes fun when it's a close game. So, I was on the edge all game. My fiance went to sleep at the beginning of the fourth quarter because she had to be up at 5 a.m. to go to the hospital. And we got down to the end of the game, and I erupted. And I'm a pretty calm guy. I was running up and down the stairs, screaming, using all kind of language I'm not going to repeat, and she didn't go to sleep. So it was extremely exciting, and it's great to finally be on the other side of one of those type of games. I mean, it's happened to us so many times. So
I go back. I want to go back to last year's national championship because we talk about finally getting to the other side. Obviously, all the get the Alabama monkey off our back, win the national championship. Like we all partied extremely hard there in Indianapolis. I remember seeing Luke after the game at the hotel, and we were all feeling pretty toasty. And I like Luke described kind of how toasty he was feeling and protecting those vocal cords here. But I want to tag that along with this too, Luke. Are we losing the excitement? Or are we still pretty juiced? I mean, because Alabama, you tell Alabama fans, like it's been there, done that. Like who cares at that point in their quote unquote dynasty? Are we still at the very beginning of this where that excitement level is just as high as it was last year?
I'm a never take anything for granted kind of guy. I mean, what's really awesome about this. It's kind of that team that we spent our life, or in this program that we spent our life always dreaming of. I mean, it's what we always. So I'm not going to take a second of it for granted, and I'm not going. I mean, it's a special thing to be to watch what Kirby's able to do. When you look at, I mean, when he ran Deshaun Edwards out there, or am I saying that right? Dejan, as he was essentially the starter, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, and then he starts go. I mean, there's just, when you look at our depth and our ability to overcome, and I mean, I remember the Alabama beats where we actually beat Alabama on the field and lost the games. And now that we got beat on the field, but we pulled it out. I mean, these are moments where the program, in my opinion, where the fans should recognize it and remember all those years of how tough it was. And I mean, I remember when we were an 11-2 team, probably with Noshawn and Matthew Stafford, we probably could have beat anybody in the world, but we were preying on missed field goals by random Pac-10, so the fact that we get to live and control our own destiny modes, and it's just a beautiful thing to watch. So I'm not going to take a second of it for granted. I mean, and I'm not even 100% sure I'm not going to wake up in a cold sweat on Sunday morning and then get to LA. I'm still, but me personally, it's just an amazing time. I'm loving every second of it.
Oh, you have to love it. And I know who's loving it is the man that you get the job. And as a former player, Keith and I both, and a lot of former players, like when the AD position came open, we were all like, it needs to be Brooks. Like there's no one that would be better for this job. There's no one that would love Georgia in this position more than Josh Brooks. Going even back to me texting you nonstop to set up 7-on-7s. Like you knew Josh was going to get the job done. And ever since he's been an athletic director at Georgia, he's gotten the damn job done, getting ready for back-to-back national championships. Like life has to be good right now, Brooks. Like you don't know losing, because the other sports are doing great. We love the other sports. I know you have to take care of all your babies. And I won't ask you who your favorite is because we all know it's football. But how good is life as an AD when you're getting ready to win your second national championship and it's only your second year?
Well, there's two sides to it, right? The first side of it is coming up in this profession. I've been in this profession 20 plus years. You never take any win for granted. I spent enough time at small schools like Louisiana Monroe where, just getting to a winning season and bowl, you'd appreciate that. So it's important for me to celebrate every win and never apologize for any win and say, well, the other team, no, you celebrate every win. And then the second part is, you kind of want to just keep your head down and keep, as Kirby would say, I know this sounds quick, keep chopping and just keep grinding and keep working. And there'll be a day when I'm older and grayer where I can really sit back and appreciate this. But right now, as we're in it, you just want to keep working and grinding because we're in a special time. So you don't want to take it for granted, but you don't want to be complacent. You want to keep grinding, finding that new edge, finding what we can do better, because that's kind of the mantra that Kirby's established, and it bleeds through this whole program. Whether you're the custodian or the AD or anyone between, we all have a duty to keep finding that edge to help our student athletes. Because I hope that you'd feel the same way when I was football ops. We always want to keep finding a way to get better to make your job easier, so our student athletes can go perform and give them every opportunity to be successful. But yeah, I'm blessed. Look, the success we're having is due to President Moorhead, Kirby Smart, Greg McGarity before me, and I'm just here at a lucky time to be sitting in this chair and just trying not to screw it up, honestly.
Give Brooks a fat raise. Should be the highest paid athletic director in America. Who else?
What's your agent fee? Murray, what's your agent fee? I may have to
highest paid athletic director in America, ladies and gentlemen. 2 natties. They haven't done it in 40 years. Give the man a raise. All right, I want to hit just for everyone real quick the Stetson Bennett story. I can't talk enough about it. It's just so good. I want to get it from everyone's perspective, and I'll start with Keith and work our way to Luke and your perspective. And then obviously, Josh, give your little 2 cents on it. But Keith, as a player, and you can talk good about the quarterback because we are the big deal. We're the one that make the most money. But Stetson is that guy, bro. In leadership, I think he's a heck of a talent too. But football, about being in that huddle. How much is the story of Stetson? How do you view it from your lens as a former player?
Yeah, I think the story speaks for itself. I think most Georgia fans, and probably most fans at this point across the country, know the story. Walk on to junior college to back up to winning the job and then having to fight through the fan base and all of that. And so I think the type of person that it takes to go through all those things and come out the other side in the way that he has, it obviously takes a very special person. But on the field, the attribute that's the most special to me is you can see the confidence he has in the big moments. It's never too big for him. We had to have a touchdown. He went down the field, and I don't know what the time was, a minute or two, and got it done. And he's done that now in 3 or 4 big games. I think I saw a stat that was like in the college football playoff in the 4th quarter, he's like 15 for 17, 300 plus yards and 5 touchdowns. So I think when you have a guy that's a competitor at that level, that's what's allowed him to have the level of success that he has, because he's clearly able to block out the noise and go to work. And I think it obviously bodes well for the rest of the team as well to have that type of leader. So I'm a huge Stetson Bennett fan, Murray. I love you to death. You're my favorite quarterback subjectively, but I will say the kid is absolutely, at the Mount Rushmore when it comes to UGA quarterback now.
I've said it for a year now. I've gladly moved aside and crowned Stetson the greatest of all time. There's we came here to do one thing, to win a national championship, and he's done it once, about to do it twice. So Stafford's the most gifted. I think Stafford's the most gifted quarterback maybe in the world, but the most accomplished quarterback is Stetson. Luke, I'll go to you on this topic. Herschel is the GOAT because he won the Heisman, he won the Natty, and maybe one of the greatest players of all time just in college football. But Stetson has the opportunity to win 2 Natties, an SEC championship, set some records. I think he's going to break one of my records here in this game. Was in New York, I think I said that. But where is he now in this conversation? Not just greatest of all times with quarterbacks, but just greatest of all times when it comes to Georgia Bulldogs.
Well, he's pretty close to getting a statue outside of the stadium, a bronze statue. I mean, stuff like that. I mean, in my opinion, I mean, when you look at the story, even the story from last year, and you look at, I mean, I tell you what, when you look at, as a fan, I'm sitting there and I'm like, JT Daniels has a rocket arm. Mm-hmm. Kirby is putting Stetson in. And, man, I'm head scratching, and Stetson's making, a few mistakes here and there. And then I think the beauty of Stetson is the way he earned his fan base. I mean, I just remember thinking, God, does he have an arm that can compete with JT? And then as he got confidence, man, the ball comes out. Mm-hmm. It comes out quick, and man, when he gets protection and steps up and throws, when you can't see it on the TV screen, when he steps up and has the time and all the things line up and he steps up, it's a completion. And even when Keith just said that stat about the fourth quarter, I mean, I had chill bumps come over my body. I mean, I'm just so proud of the kid. I'm proud of the story. And that's what the dream's all about. I mean, definitely, he's going to go down in infamy if he pulls this off. I mean, he's definitely top five player at Georgia of all time. I mean, it's so tough. And when you start talking about Garrison Hurst and all these other guys, that was my biggest thing for years when we were never in the national championship talks. As me and my buddies, we would be like, why can't we find a Heisman Trophy candidate? We just need a Heisman Trophy candidate that's good enough to lead us. And the fact that he's been able to do that, and I thought he should have won it personally, but and not, if he plays in the fourth quarter, 60% more time, his stats are better than everybody. But I'm just proud of the kid, and what a story. I mean, I think it's certainly a Cinderella story.
Oh, it's unbelievable. And
I get excited. I got a lot of caffeine.
Hey, I love it. Hey, you know what? There was no one celebrating harder than Luke Bryan last year at the national championship. So I'll tell you that. But Brooks, I mean, what do we need to do to get Stetson a statue? Like, is this something that's already in the works? Are we planning it? I mean, like, if they win Monday night, I mean, there's only been 2 Natty national championships. He was in New York. I mean, are we in the works to get the mailman out in front of Sanford?
I will stay out of the statue conversation, but I will say I've got a statue or a Murray office here somewhere. I got to pull it up. But I saw a great tweet that somebody put out, said the Stetson movie is not possible now because it's got to be a miniseries. It's so long. There's so much to it. And it's like, that's a pretty good point. But if you were to tell Hollywood, if you went to Hollywood with a script of this, they would tell you to get out. This is too, you can't make this up. Like, it's too far fetched. But he's such an awesome young man. I'm so proud of him. And there's some greats though. I always want to throw some tribute back to Jake Scott. That's an old name that people forget about when you talk about the greats, the Mount Rushmore. There are some true great ones when you think about Andy Johnson's the world, the Bill Stanfield. There's some great ones like Pearson. But yeah, great group. But yeah, this just so happy for him. It's a great story. I'm so proud of Stet, and just want to see him finish one more game.
One more game, baby. All right. Before we get into score predictions, I know Keith had a little question for the AD. Keith, I'm going to pass it over to you for a second.
Absolutely. So from the outside looking in, right, Kirby is such a special coach. Obviously, I left Coach Ricks last year, but I got to, I had teammates that got to play for him. They talked about the intensity that he, came to work with every single day. So my question to you is, really what makes him so special? I mean, the things that he's now accomplished, to go win a national championship in the fashion that we wanted, and to, lose all those guys to the draft, to come back and have, on paper, a better season. We're undefeated this year. I mean, that's never been done. College football playoff history, there's never been a back-to-back champion. On a day-to-day inside the organization, I know you can't share all the secret sauce, but what makes Kirby so special?
I think it comes down to, and look, I was blessed enough early in my career as a student to work for Nick Saban and to see him firsthand. But what I think Kirby is so great at, he's just relentless. And when I say relentless, he's relentless in everything he does in the pursuit of perfection, right? I saw a great quote that perfection is not possible, but the pursuit of perfection is. And I honestly, it's how he approaches every single day and everything he does. And Keith, I think it goes bigger than just him. It like I said, it bleeds throughout all of us. So it's that attitude that now we all have of this pressure that we want to be better. We don't want to just keep doing things the same way. Let's keep finding that edge. Let's keep finding a way to do every little thing better, from how we paint the fields to how we, stripe the helmets, to everything you do. Everybody in the organization just wants to keep finding ways to do it better. And when you have that attitude and you're never satisfied, and again, you want to appreciate the wins, you celebrate all, but you're still never satisfied. We take the attitude of, and I think that's just it. We're never going to be complacent in anything we do. And I think that's the key. That's the secret to the sauce. And again, from the janitors to the managers to the trainers to everyone in the program, everyone's pushing the same direction and looking for that edge to keep getting better.
Hey, call me biased, but you can get everything you want at Georgia. Coaches, athletic directors, facilities, food, campus, pretty women, academics. I mean, the whole night. It's a beautiful place to be for these recruits. So as we saw, another number 2 recruiting class for Kirby and those guys as they continue to build. All right, before I let you 3 beautiful gentlemen leave us, we'll start again with Luke here. Give us 2 things. 1, score prediction. What's the score going to be in the game versus TCU? And then what are your plans to celebrate, enjoy the big victory?
Well, I have so I called my concert lighting and audio, the company that I use. They're installing like a 200. I got big screens coming into my barn, and we're getting ready. I'm going to fire up and smoke some Boston butts and get ready for a big shindig. But man, we're just going to hang at the house and have fun, have all my diehard Georgia fans over. No bad, no weird people messing up the juju, and but the main thing is, as far as score, I mean, gosh, what a 13-point favorite right now.
Yeah, 12.5, 13.
Ooh, that's a little
over.
Let's just
put your money where your mouth is. I already got my money on the table.
I kind of like a 35-20. I like a 35-20.
Nice. All right, Brooksy, I know you're probably, are you going to, we all know you're going to be there. You'll be on the sideline or up in the box roaming around. Will you sleep at all on Sunday night? Like, are you going to get any kind of sleep? Or are you going to be stressing?
I'll definitely be stressing, but that's why in this job you better exercise to get your heart as healthy as possible. My Oura ring, I wear an Oura ring that monitors my fitness, and I was in Atlanta a whole week, and I didn't charge it, so it died Saturday. So thank God, because I would not have want to see what my heart rate would have been during the game. I think I was clutching my chest like Sanford, and sound like Fred Sanford back, But I won't sleep well Sunday, but and then hopefully I'll be staying up late Monday night, and then hopefully I'll be going on 1 or 2 hours of sleep, get on that plane coming back to Athens. But
Keith, Keith?
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, John.
We'll be at the hotel. Hopefully we'll be celebrating there.
Yeah, get you order you a couple bottles of Pappy, and y'all have some fun there in LA.
Now look, I'm Luke. I got your number now, so if we win, I'm gonna zoom you into the post game room, and you got to sing a song like you did last year. So
hey, I want to thank you and your staff for somehow never letting any of those videos leak out.
Hey, you and me both.
You must have had Secret Service on that or something.
It was like a Dave Chappelle comedy concert, like check your phones at the door.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, Keith. Well, before we wrap this thing up, give us your score prediction.
I'm gonna go 41-17. I don't think it's gonna be as close as everybody thinks. Shout out to TCU, great story. I think mano y mano, I don't see it. So I think 41-17. Obviously, I'll be hanging out with you, watching the game at the little party we're going to. So I'm excited about that to get to celebrate. And before we leave, I want to give a special shout out to Mr. Bryan. I grew up listening to hip hop and R&B, and I got to Athens, and that country girl, Shake It For Me. That was That was my introduction to the country music, and we spent some time at a lot of your concerts, and it was always a good time. So it was great to reconnect, man.
Good to see you, and thank you for. I mean, that was I remember, I did at one point. I was doing the farm tours, and I have the Gershel jersey. It's in my trophy room, and then one night I wore an Aaron Murray jersey on stage, and it was back then to be able to have you guys come out to some concerts, you and Todd, and even so many of the players, and get to know the kid, get to know these kids on a personal level, and it was I think all of that was the segue of the program growing to the program it is today. I mean, you got to start the trend. The trend starts years before it actually happens, and those were fun moments. And Keith, I remember meeting you. It's funny. I mean, I sit and every morning I'm checking recruiting. I'm watching it like a hawk. And then I remember the day that you committed to Georgia. And so I'm a up and coming country singer. And then I meet this 5-star speedster, and so the feeling is so mutual to get to hang out with you guys and watch your work ethic and how hard and all the challenges to be good men, students, and athletes. It's really loved meeting you guys, and great seeing you. And gosh, it's seems like a lifetime ago.
It's a glory days.
We're all getting old right now. I got plenty of grays. I know Keith got a couple coming in. Josh is going to have no hair here in the next year or two, so he'll be looking like my boy Bobo soon enough. But boys, I appreciate you guys. Safe travels to Brooks, Keith coming down to Atlanta. Luke, thank you for jumping on. Enjoy the butts and the barbecue and the big screens. And one last thing, go freaking Dogs.
I guess we can cook some I don't know where if you can cook horned frogs, but we can go.
Yeah, get some horned frogs.
You can fry some frog legs for sure.
Hey, I grew up in South Louisiana. I love
frog
frog legs. That's one of yeah.
All right, we'll get a taste test of some horned frog legs after Monday night. But boys, appreciate you guys. Enjoy, and we'll catch you later.
Absolutely.
Great to see you guys.